Hi, welcome back. This is Charlie from My Messy Fingers. We're in the middle of an album build for Scrap and Create. We are playing with Ciao Bella's Always and Forever collection. And today the build will be on page 1, your signature for building this page. Now, when I cut my base piece, keeping in mind that I'm going to be building up with some gussets, I don't want my piece to come all the way over here, because what happens then is that when you go to stand this up, the gusset butts into this here and it won't lay over without bowing. So when I go to cut this, and I think I cut this one too big, just eyeballing it here just a second ago, I just want a hair here on the bottom. And I want a hair up here on the top. And I want to be a good 1/4 to possibly 3/8 in from the edge. And that's where I'm going to cut that. So I apologize. I need to do some trimming. I think I got this base piece mixed up with another one, but we can fix, that's already been built, so I'm just going to fix this real quick. And I'll show you what I mean by building up. Now I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Ink tea dye because I think it was the color that best complemented the collection. You can use any ink of your choice or don't ink. I just don't, when you're using white cardstock, I don't want the paper kind of blending into the cardstock. I want it to stand out, so I always ink my edges. So now I want to sneak right up to this edge here, and I want to make sure that I've got at least a 1/4 to 3/8. It looks like I have more of a 1/2 inch, so we'll make it work. It's no big deal. Because a good 1/4 of that is going to be absorbed with this buildup. So starting from the top, or from the bottom to the top, this is what I've put together. So you're going to have, from your scraps, I had this piece. So I took from my scraps a piece of cardstock, and we're going to put a pocket right over here. And I want to make sure now that I've trimmed that this is going to need to be trimmed up just a little bit as well. So let me do that. And now this needs to be trimmed up, and I'm going to take it off the bottom, off the top, because I like the floral on the bottom. So I'm going to come up here, because there's really not much up here. I'm going to take it off the top, put it in here, make it go away. Re-ink the edge. So now this is going to sit in here like this. And then I have a piece of lace. It's cut a little bit long, and that's fine because I can trim it off. And then I fussy cut out this pair of shoes, and I put some chipboard on it, and it's those shoes are going to sit right here at the bottom with a little bit of height on them so that there's some depth. The next piece is utilizing 2 cuts. This cut is true to its size. It had some cards across the bottom, so it's not quite as tall, but that doesn't bother me because I play with it. You got to use that paper. So this is going to sit in here like this. And then this side, again, utilizing a piece that is not 12 by 12. It's going to sit here like this. And then we have the outer piece, which is going to sit over it. And this 12 by 12 piece that had the cake on it. And then we have on this side, this panel. I am going to sneak on the inside of this little panel. Show you that in a minute. And then this. Okay, so I'm going to build up from the inside. Now, I want to glue this down. Just a second, I have a malfunction here. I don't want my power cord to get in the way. You will find that I go to my scraps a lot. I don't want to have to cut into a piece of 12 by 12 to accomplish what I want. When there's all these gorgeous, beautiful pieces sitting over here on my side. So now I'm going to add some tape. Make sure it's right side up. I've taped the right side. Burnish. Take it off. Come in here, right along this edge, put the tape down. Now my ribbon, which I was really lucky, it had a strip down the center that I could hide some 1/4-inch tape on. And I want my ruffled edge to come just off the edge of the pocket and over the designer paper. Burnish that down. Trim that off. Now I'm going to glue in the shoes. Okay. Now this piece here, to fit this panel, make sure it's right side up. This piece of cardstock I cut to just a hair past 8 3/4, and it is 7 1/2 across. You score it at 1/2, and you're going to score it at 5/8. And then we're going to use some 3/8 inch tape. And then we're going to center it in here. So I'm going to come to the back side, I'm going to come right up to that first score line, eyeball top to bottom. Stand this up a little bit. Make sure I'm up against it. Secure it down. Now, here's my gusset that I created, but I'm going to push this over and I'm going to really score on that 5/8 line because I want that gusset to do its job. I want it to stand up so that you've got a buildup of a gusset right there. Now I'm going to come in and do the opposite side. And I'm going to do my best because these should be to the matching pieces, and I'm going to center them top to bottom, hold really tight, turn it over, take my tape off, and then I'm going to tap this right up to that first score line. Okay, and then I'm going to press this down and really score that so that again it stands up, does its job. We're going to use magnets on the two big ones, but what I'm going to do to encourage that these two kind of stay in place, I'm going to put just a couple of small magnets in here. You don't have to. There should be enough paperweight, and I honestly don't know if putting these in here is going to do what I want it to do, so we're going to find out. I just don't want to use a whole bunch of big magnets. Put it right there, about halfway in between. Push that down. Okay. So it should work. Now, going back to the inside, we have these two panel pieces. They have the lettering. So this is what you're going to be looking at least for my build. If you want to use the opposite sides, you can, but we're already using some floral on the next panel, so I'm trying to keep things balanced out just a little bit. I'm going to use some tape because they're quite large pieces. And as I've said before, by the time I get done gluing everything, half the glue's already in the process of drying. But I am going to just run a bead down the center, save on my tape. Okay. Now what I want to match up is my outside edge, because as long as I match it up correctly, I'm not encroaching on my gusset. I've got this hopefully close to the same amount of room on that side of it. And then we're going to this tape, and then I'm going to burnish really well. And now I'm going to repeat for the other side. I had somebody message me on a previous video why I have this pink fingertip thing I have made so many albums over the last 10 years. I've used so much tape that it is actually dried out the skin really bad on this finger. And it doesn't matter how much lotion I put in there, it still stays pretty dry. So I am now protecting it with a little finger guard that I found on Amazon. Real cheap. You get half a dozen of them, I think. And I chose pink because it stands out on my table. Okay. Pull this into us, make sure the wording is right side up. Come in here just off this edge. And make sure I'm not getting on my score line. Oh no. No, 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 no. Hold on, I have an emergency here. Though it's not tacked down very much, I'm not going to risk pulling it and then having the tape tear it. Okay. I just thought of something and I'm going to fix it just before I take the tape off. Okay, there was the, or no, it's going to go to a different spot. Okay, got it. I made this a couple of days ago. I kind of make the pages in advance so that I have them ready for video. And then I have these lapses in memory. Oh, was that supposed to go there? Okay, now we're going to do these panel covers. Let me make sure I've got the right ones on the right side. That goes there. Have a little pencil mark there. And then this one's going to go right here. See, this is why I chose not to use a floral on those inside panels, because we've got plenty of floral leading up to this. So what I'm going to do again is just add, whoops, my alt light just went off. Just add enough tape to the edges to hold this down, and then I'll just kind of run a bead of glue down the center. You can see on this side of the panel there are two cards that you could cut out. This is the center and use, but that would have cut this image here in half. I suppose you could use that someplace within the album, but I liked that image. So I chose to do it this way. Okay, I'm going to come center here, left to right, top to bottom. Burnish that down so that that glue starts to do its thing. And now we're going to do the same with this piece. This is a pretty side here, got the little delicate lace here across the bottom. That soft green. I would be real curious if any of you chose to do a different color lace. I'd love to see some photos. Again, you don't even have to use lace. If you've got some beautiful, delicate border dies and a die cut type of machine, whether it's crank or electric, you could do that instead of the lace. Come in here. Oops, I need to. Top to bottom. Smash that down good. I have a tendency, a bad tendency of pulling my work toward me, so I apologize. So you'll see me readjusting here. Trying to get used to the video making for display for teaching, and so there's some bad habits that I have. Okay, so on this piece here, which is going to be your outer piece, remember we had the cut that was 5.5 to 5 5/8, scoring it at 1/2 and scoring it at 3/4. And the reason I had you score that at 3/4 is because by the time you come in here and you lay this piece, it's got to absorb everything that is underneath of it. Does that make sense? And I need, because I did a trim, I need to trim this, so hang tight while I take care of that. Okay. So it's going to come in here and sit like this. Now, when we put this in here, I have had you come up to this score line when you lay your signature. Because we need this to come up over this gusset, you're going to take your signature and you're going to come right up to this edge of this 3/4 inch score line so that this gusset folds over all of this. Does that make sense? So we are going to put on some tape. And then I got to stop for a second and think about this next step. I had it in my head what I wanted to do. I just want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly. Okay, because this piece, which I'll give you the measurements on here in a second, is going to be on the inside of this page, like this. So that piece, what I'm cutting it to is one of these cards. So this piece ended up measuring 5 3/4 by 4 1/8 with a 1/2 inch score line. So I'll adhere it in a minute because I want to finish getting this panel in, but I had to walk through that for just a second. I do a lot of thinking at 2 a.m. in the morning, and I don't make notes, which I should. Okay, burnish that. I'm going to take this tape off And then I'm going to come right up to that, center it, and fold it over. So you see, you have your gusset, you have this page, this folds over. Got it? Okay, now we're going to do the same on this side, where you have your other 3/4. Now there won't be quite the buildup on this. Well, there could be. Never mind, I correct myself, there is. What I was about to say is if I'm putting a 1/4 inch gusset on this side, I will always do it on this side. I don't go 1/4 inch and 5/8 because then you've got an out of balance fold. I will always match my gusset lines on each side. And I can see I need to trim this piece as well. That's because I trimmed this a little bit shorter. So bear with me while I put this over here on my trimmer. Okay. Get this in there and fold this over. This and this. Now, before I go any further, because I've done it in the past, I've got to take my magnets and put them in. So I'm going to put it on this top piece, just about 1 inch in. And then make sure that these are standing, that the gussets are standing the way they're supposed to. Line up top to bottom and press. Do I have any pencil marks? Nope. Okay. Now, on the inside panel is going to be this piece, and I want this piece here to kind of center. Okay, and I can see a mistake that I did not think through at my 2 a.m. morning is I have a magnet right there. There's going to be 2 more. I don't think I'm going to be able to use this piece. Because of this magnet, there'll be too much layering. Because I've still got 2 pieces to layer and there's still a piece here. So having not thought that through, I won't be doing this. So I'm going to save that. So let's go ahead and let's put this down. I might use it a different way. I should not be doing that way. And I'm not putting glue down the center of this because if I ever have to get into the magnets, I want to be able to do so. So just a smidgen of tape. I really wanted to use that card, but that magnet, oh, I need to trim this down just a smidgen because I cut the paper down, the cardstock. Okay. Great ink. Now I should be able to come right in here. I'm right along, leaving just a hair line between that and the gusset. What's that going to look like if I go ahead and put that here? I like this because it had some journaling opportunities, so you can kind of tell your story. So if I cut this 1/4" score line off of there, let me see what this does. So I'm just put it on this little guy. Oh, but I'm still going to have, the problem with the magnet. Okay, I'm moving on. Now, as we go through this album build, I just want to let you know that I'm not using any of these images for a couple of reasons. Your coloring may not be gray. It may be black. It may be white. So I kind of wanted you to be able to make the decision on your own on the cutouts. These images exist. You can cut them out and you can place them throughout the album as you wish. There's definitely plenty of room to do that. I just wanted you to have the opportunity to kind of have some control over the final product. The other reason, and I'm not sure that there's really a good or fair way of saying this, but they used a predominant female figure, and I don't want to use it because not everybody's a brunette. So I'm refraining from using those images. Now, if it works for you and it's what you want, absolutely, by all means, put it in your album. I'm just not going to do it because I think that I need to keep this somewhat neutral. I take these to craft shows and I sell them. If I don't sell them online, I take them with me to craft shows, and I need to appease to a very wide audience. Okay. And then we have these pieces here. Just going to do kind of a dry fit because I had to shorten these. So I'm going to take a little bit off the top of this piece. dry fit. And then I've got to do the same over here. All right, copious amounts of tape. It's a magnet page. And then I'm going to go in and do some little embellishments when I'm done with the build. I just had a thought. I would have to recut that piece of cardstock, but I'm going to look at something because I really wanted to use that. When you've got some great journaling opportunities to tell your story, share your information, I want to be able to provide that in an album. So I'm going to go look at something real quick. It may not work. As I'm sitting here thinking about it, I was thinking about recutting that piece of cardstock and placing it a little bit deeper into the album. I don't know how much it will interfere with the small magnet that's in there, because that small magnet definitely will not carry the layers of paper. Now when I line this up, I want to try to line up this gold band here as best as possible so it's not too terribly off, because that's going to be an eye catcher as far as I'm concerned. It's a predominant feature. Okay. Now, back in here, what I was thinking about doing was lifting the tape. So if I put it here, lift this tape, recut, I could slide that in there. I've got room in the small gusset there to take a 1/2 inch fold. I wished I hadn't cut that edge off now. So let's see here. So bear with me because I really would like to do that. So I'm gonna cut this. Right about, well, I can always trim it. So I'm gonna cut it here and I'm gonna cut it here. Let's see if I can do that on this little guy. Just going to fold this over a little bit so make sure that pencil mark is right on the edge. Okay. So I apologize if you're having to do the same thing, and if you want, you can just simply tack it in here, but I really would like to get this in there. I don't know why I'm so fixated on it. Ouch. All right, so what I'm going to do very gently is take some, I'm going to figure out where I need to be because I'm going to slide that right in there. So I'm just going to gently take up this edge of this paper off this glue. And let's see if I can get this in there. Eyeball it as best I can. I'm going to slide this. Nope, I got to take a little bit more of that tape up. There we go. That will work. All right. Top to bottom. Now, I'm doing this for this album. If it is too much for you to do, don't do it. But I'm doing it tape to adhere back down. Now this was my back side piece. And this is my front side piece. Too late now. So it's got a little wider edge. Not much I can do about it. To encourage this glue or this tape to adhere, I'm going to slide just a tad bit of glue underneath there. Where's my piece? Oh, so this provides for two sides. The way I'm cutting this for some journaling. You can put a photo in here if you wish. come underneath here. And again, I just want to give it a little bit of encouragement to stick together real fast so I can mess around with the rest of it. Okay, now in here, on this page, I took a piece of scrap and I cut it to fit. I'm going to glue it on. This was in my scraps. You can do and then I'm going to tape this. And I'm going to kind of come in here and just gently lay this down about center, about a 1/4 inch up off the top. And you've got a little pocket for a tag. In your cut-aparts is this cute little envelope. So I cut it out, I scored the lines, and I am going to put this little envelope. You can put a magnet here if you want, one of the small ones. I'm going to put this right in here. And then I went into the cut-aparts and I cut this out and I put on a couple of pieces of chipboard. And I propped this up right here. And then this side over here was just a simple cutout. And then I'm going to just kind of glue this, center it as best as possible.